owning a vineyard always seemed like one of those endeavors that was reserved for the extremely wealthy or someone born onto an estate. But it turns out, and it's kind of obvious when you think about it, anyone can start a vineyard. All right, so you might be asking, why are you starting a vineyard on your homestead? Don't you have enough to do already? I mean, you've already got gardens and chickens and pigs, and we've heard you say you've got plans for cows and everything else. Is a vineyard not just another complication? Well, this has been a dream of Kirsty's for a long, long time now. So I reckon we ask her, why are you doing a vineyard?
Why not?
Well, that's a good answer.
We can do what we want.
Elaborate.
Have you ever done those exercises where you have to like picture your ideal day and what does it look like and what does it feel like and
Oh, yeah.
who's there with you?
A bit of visioneering.
Yes, I mean, I'm quite a visionary anywho, but my ideal day is on the grape harvest where we're stomping the grapes with a big long table and all of my favourite people are there and there's wine and there's food and some music and everybody's just having a wonderful time. And so that has, since probably I was 18 years old, that has been my picture of an ideal day. And for my 40th birthday, Regan actually recreated that whole idea for me. And so
yeah, we did. We did the long table. We did all your friends.
You bought me a vintage grape press, like
yep.
like a really old antique one.
Yep.
And some wine barrels.
Yep.
And you cleaned out all of the stores of all of the table grapes.
Yeah, they weren't wine grapes.
Because my birthday's not in harvest season.
Yeah.
And it was just the best day. And so
and the cool thing was, one of our closest friends built some like trellis for us out of hardwood, which we've still got. We've transported with us all these years.
Yep.
That we kind of
all these years
mounted over the it's not been so long since they're 40. But the trellis was mounted over these half wine barrels. I hope we've got some photos. We'll put them up if we do.
Yeah.
And the idea was that eventually those trellis, whilst it was something to hang on to the day we stomped grapes, would become part of this vineyard.
Yes.
I love that this is...
It's happening sooner than I thought it would. I thought it would be like a retirement idea, but I guess that's what we're kind of like moving into, isn't it?
Sort of.
Yeah.
Homesteading feels like semi-retirement.
It does. So the dream is,
Yeah.
you know, in 10 years' time, I might have grandchildren by then. You know, all of the family here, all of our favourite people here. Erin's going to be there because she's like...
Oh, she's already volunteered to stomp grapes.
She's already volunteered to come and stomp grapes.
One of our super fans.
And yeah, that we would be able to have those kinds of experiences. But not only that, being able to look out over the vineyard, over the dams as the sun is setting. We're not just building this because, you know, we feel like we need to be more resilient in the world. We're building this because it's going to bring so much joy. And sometimes that's just as important.
Oh, I think it's equally as important that on a homestead, you're looking at the self-sufficiency of your physical needs, but also of your mental, emotional, spiritual needs. And a vineyard feels like it fits that category.
Well, not only that, it's a curiosity thing for me as well.
Yeah.
I would love to learn how winemaking works.
Yep.
I would like to know, like the first couple of batches of wine we're going to make, it's going to be awful. It's
going
to be
don't
like
sign up for
Moira
that.
Rose and David Rose on Schitt's Creek and they're tasting wine and it's going to be awful. But I'm like, look, if Pink can do it, so can I.
Absolutely. And Sam Neill.
Yeah.
So watch this space, but for like 5 or 6 years. Anyway, we need to make a start. So I'm going to rewind a day because we've already started kind of marking it out and pegging it out. So let's rewind to where we started and I'll show you what we've done. It is super windy today. It's been okay in the sun, but now that the sun's starting to get low, I think I'm going to have to switch from t-shirt to jumper. Anyway, I think I'm pretty close to having my first line worked out. Everything is incredibly slow at first when you're trying to build things to a line. And the line here is pretty important because I want to get that north-south line really accurate. The hardest part about it is this block doesn't really face north-south. I mean, who says which way it faces? But there's a couple of things that are determining it. First of all, we've got this path. Now, this path goes directly from our lawn in front of the tiny home there, straight down to the dam. So it's a nice, easy access. It's about the width of our mower because we ride the mower down there occasionally with the trailer. So that's a nice, easy access. So that's kind of determining one line. Another line, and again, do I have to pay attention to it? I don't know, but is this berm, and it's a bit hard to see, I know, the camera doesn't really show it, but it's about a 2-foot high berm, about probably 1.5 meters wide, that runs, well, it runs the entire property from sort of north to south. It roughly follows contour lines, and the design of it, we're pretty sure, was to keep water high on the landscape so that it didn't all end up in the valley. All right, so I've got these two lines, and so that gives me kind of this square, but then we've got one of the main driveways kind of curls around here. So actually, it's not a square, it's a quarter of a piece of pie. Quarter of a piece of pie? No, it's a quarter of a circle. It's a quarter of a circle. And so what do I orient to? I think I need to orient to north-south, but then where do I start the first line? And so what I'm finding is that I've marked out this first north-south, and it's basically 45 degrees to the other two lines that we've got in here, which means that as we run the rows up through this section, they're going to get shorter and shorter and shorter until they get into the corner here. And what point do I pick for the shortest row, and how short should it be? This might help if I kind of sketch it up. I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to sketch, I've probably got a drone shot around somewhere. I'm going to sketch this over it. But the rough decision that I've made right now is that I've picked the corner point, and then because we're going to do rows of 3 meter spacing, so we looked that up, that seems to be pretty standard if you want to fit tractors down it, that sort of thing. And we're going to do plant spacing of 2.4 meters. I just did my first space at 3 meters. And so that was here. And that means if I go to the path, I hope you're sticking with me on this. If I go to the path and then walk that first row, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 or 8 meters before I'm at the berm. I do kind of like it. There's going to be this nice progression of rows that get subsequently longer and longer as you move down throughout the row. And then also as you get into the corner at the end there, they're going to get shorter and shorter. And then I'm not sure. Here's another question to you vineyard experts out there. Should I plant the next row of plants so that the vine or the stem, the trunk, is in the exact same position east-west to its partner in the rows either side of it, or should I offset them by 1.2 meters? Is there any reason for that? I'm thinking like foliage distribution, shading out from one to the other. I mean, the reason that you do north-south is so that you don't get that. But that's definitely one question that we're going to have. And on this project, even though we've only got 13 vines, I really would like to do 2 rows so that it at least looks like the start of a vineyard and not just a row of grapes. And so that means I have to make that decision. Do the plants sit right opposite each other, or are they offset kind of brickwork pattern? Hit me up, because I guess we're going to plant them before you see this, but I guess there's the opportunity to change it. I'm inclined to go offset. I don't know why, it's just an intuitive feeling. I feel like they should be offset. All right, I am about ready to mark out the spacings for that first row. That's the first row marked out. Now, because we haven't downed some of the trees in this area that will eventually come down, like that big gnarly looking one over there, although I really like that tree, that's going to be such a shame to lose it. But this little twin tree behind me, that'll go. We probably won't go the full length of the rows, so I might just do the first 5 plants and then we'll start the next row. So I'm just going to do a little builder's trick here. I'm going to make a 3, 4, 5 triangle. That's going to make sure that my next row is square to, you know, the current one. Otherwise, I've got to figure out that north-south line again, and I really want that 3 meter spacing to be exactly right, which is great because 3 meters to the row, 4 meters along the long side, hypotenuse should be 5, and that means that my perpendicular line to the row is square. And I'll do that here, and I'll do that at the far end as well.
Woke up to 17 new problems, blowing up my phone. Oh yeah, yeah. You know that if you let them, they'll try to break your soul. So I put on my robe and pour some coffee. Turn off my notifications. The sunshine pouring through the window, sending problems on vacation.
I think I'm going to call that a day. I've got one more day before this video needs to get out to you guys, but that is a pretty solid start. It's always hard to kind of see a project start to shape up when you first start to lay it out, because all of these initial things, getting your measurements right and getting things accurate and square, they just take time to do well. But I know we're going to appreciate it when we're sitting up there on our deck, looking out there on our sunset, and there's a little field of grapevines in front of us. So here's where we got to. Yesterday, we pretty much got everything marked out. Now, we started with a north-south orientation, which is the best for grapes. It means full sun exposure from sunrise to sunset. But the challenge that we're going to face here is that our slope is southwest to northeast. So we're going to have to do something about runoff and erosion, and we've got a really clever idea that we're going to implement here to control that. Next steps is to get the temporary trellis in. Now, this isn't the full trellis system. That comes next year. We don't have to do it from year one because we're basically just training the main stem or the main trunk this year. So we'll get a temporary wire in, and if I've got enough, we'll do irrigation as well, but it starts with some star pickets and wires. So let's go grab a post driver.
I may be caught up in this traffic, but it won't stop my flow. 'Cause I still got my music slapping. Let's get this road on the show. Go on ahead and rain on my parade. I'll jump in those puddles every single day. Try to steal my joy, I'll just give it away. Well, that's okay. I got plenty more saved.
We've got our lines in, we've got our wires in. Now what we've done is a low wire for an irrigation line. So that's what I'm going to set up now, and that's at 30 centimeters. And then a training wire at 60 centimeters. Ultimately, my main wire is going to be at 1 meter, so we'll rebuild all of this in the winter season when the plants go dormant. But I've got a training wire, and so that's just to get everything kind of squared up. So we're going to put some stakes in, we'll square the stakes up to the wire, and then as the plant comes up, it's got something to hold on to. The dripper line's going to go on that bottom wire, so that just keeps that evenly distributed. Now let me tell you about my problem with irrigation, and if it rains really heavy here, because we're going to have rows that are basically running across contour, but not evenly across contour. Like if this contour came straight down east-west and my rows were north-south, then any rain that lands is going to hit, you know, say you raised the whole row, right? Not just where you put the plant, but the whole row. Water's going to come down, it's going to sit against that swale or that little embankment, and it's going to soak into the root zone. Because it's off contour to that, water's going to come down and then going to want to follow the path down because it keeps going down. That north-south path is making the water basically channel straight down, and so it's going to want to rush straight down, which is going to start to erode right at the root zone. We definitely don't want to do that. So there's a few options. We could protect the entire block by doing a big swale, but there's still going to be rain that lands here that we want to manage, or we could take advantage of rain that lands further up the hill and redirect it. Now, I don't know if you've seen these videos like where they've done in the African desert, where they've done these crescent-shaped little swales all over the place. You've probably seen that video, it's pretty popular. We're going to do a version of that on our vineyard per plant. So the way it's going to work is we'll do a little C-shaped swale at the base of each plant with the C-shape facing up the contour, not necessarily up the row or perpendicular to the row. We want the water to come straight down the slope into that little C-shaped swale and then just infiltrate right there at the root zone. And it'll only catch whatever water was above it coming down before there's other swales up there. And because we've got our big swale at the top of this whole block, it's not going to be a lot. There's not tons and tons of water ever rushing down here. So we'll get all this unwound, we'll get it zip tied on, we'll get it connected up and test that it works, and then we're pretty close to putting some plants in the ground.
Oh, you gotta roll with it, just roll with it. You just gotta go with it, just go with it. Whole life is gonna spin out of control. Just go with it, just go with it. You got
All right, this is exciting. We're about to put our vines in the ground. So if you didn't watch our previous video, we scored 10 Shiraz grapevines. Now these are what are called bare root cuttings. So they're just cuttings, they're not a grafted vine, and they've basically been growing out in the field, developing a root system, and they're only like 20 or 30 centimeters. They look like sticks, but they need to go in the ground. Now the mistake we made last year when we had our first little attempt at this is heavy clay soil. So what Kirsty's doing is adding a bit of gypsum to the bottom of the hole. We've dug about a 20 to 30 centimeter hole. And what we're going to do is fill about 2/3 of that hole with a real gravelly mix that we had on the property, which is awesome. So that's what's in the wheelbarrow there. We're going to fill that, and that's going to give us some nice drainage. So these dripper lines are working perfectly, but what we don't want is those root systems to get just soaked, flooded, and drown the plant. So a bit of gravel goes in the bottom of the hole, and then we've also got a garden cart full of our own homemade compost that's going to go around the plant. It's basically what we're planting that fragile root system into, and then we're going to mound the whole thing up. So the roots, I'll try and be gentle. So the roots aren't incredibly long, but we want about half of those roots to be above our ground level right now. And the reason for that is we're going to mound these. So they're going to sit on a mound, and that's going to help with the drainage as well. So the first part of the roots are going to live above ground in a mound of soil. That's going to give them a chance to get established without getting flooded and drowned. And they'll also be able to go down into the hole and enjoy all of that good structure that we're creating right there.
What do you reckon? Is that enough?
Yeah, so that's the gravelly stuff. Awesome. So do the honours. All right, and you've got some compost here ready on the side. I'll push this out of the way. So yeah, I reckon hover it in place. Yeah, I reckon that's about what we want, because we want some of these roots above ground level.
Right.
Yeah, so we don't want it down too deep.
So maybe a little bit more of that gravel.
Yeah, could go a little. You want me to hold that? Yeah. It's kind of a gravelly, soily mix. So we've got all these mounds around the property, and they've been sitting for years and years and years. That's it. And because of that, there's a high amount of gravel on the surface of the mound just because of erosion, which is super handy when you want to do a job like this. Yeah, perfect. So we want those roots nicely spread out. Okay, go for it. Just start to kind of push it in. Yeah, put some around the back. Nice. Yeah, one more. In the front here, perfect. So what's really cool is that all of this real heavy clay soil that we dug out of the hole, that's going to form our C-shaped swale. And I'm just going to roughly shape that up. My slope is in that direction, so I want to catch water as it comes down the slope. Oh, careful little plant. I want to catch water as it comes down the slope. I want it to go in here, but then I also don't want it shooting down the line there. So we kind of need to bank that up a little bit there. Perfect. That's it.
I got an answer and it hasn't failed me. Something that's constant when the winds are changing. It keeps me grounded when my heart is racing. Yeah, it's that whisper in my soul. Yeah, saying you gotta roll.
Well, this was never really going to be a one-day project, and we haven't even got all the vines in the ground yet. But it's a start. What do you think?
We thought we would fare thee well at sunset so that we can say goodbye to you, and we can keep going until it gets dark. But hopefully by the time you're seeing this on Saturday, we'll have finished putting everything in the ground.
So I reckon what we'll do is, if you haven't visited our Patreon page yet, yeah, a lot of it goes up there for members only, but a lot of it goes for free. So we are going to put a completed vineyard video, to the stage of completion that we get it to,
unedited,
up on Saturday morning or whenever we get it done. And you can see that for free. You don't have to be a member to do that one. But are you seeing it? Is it coming together?
Yeah. Those first ones going in the ground was amazing.
It's always the case that when you start out, you think, is this even going anywhere? Because it feels like it's taken so long. But do you see your vineyard now?
In 3 years.
We'll see you guys next time.
Roll with it, just roll with it. Just gotta go with it, just go with it. Oh, life is gonna spin out of control. Just go with it, just Just roll